As online scams become more and more sophisticated, seniors are being cautioned to take extra care, especially in the holiday season. With more on this, let's bring in Mohit Radjans, a media consultant with thinkstart.ca. Mo, thanks very much for joining us today. Good to see you.
Hi, Roger. Good to see you as well.
Let's talk about this. I can imagine now with AI and everything, the cyber crimes are becoming extremely sophisticated and seniors even more vulnerable.
Yeah, well, you speak to a couple of different things just in that sentence alone. On one hand, you have a wonderful amount of social media and digital media that's out there that seniors are starting to use post-pandemic, and that can be considered a positive thing, especially when it comes to staying connected. But now we're fast forwarding into a world where artificial intelligence is proving to becoming a little bit more, problematic when it comes down to starting to understand how social media can be used in multiple ways. Digital communication is being used through text messaging, etc., with seniors these days. And all of this is leading towards the fact that we might be moving towards a time period where seniors are the most vulnerable when it comes down to cyber crimes.
I can only imagine. What are some of the narratives they're using to get to seniors?
Well, a quick scan of some local news outlets, and you start to realize that the common ones are things like investment scams. So many seniors have been targeted through social media as a result of people knowing their ages. So people will offer quick, hurried investments and strategies for which that people can make money very quickly. The other one is refunds that end up manifesting themselves in text messages for purchases that you might not have made and maybe come through a text message. And you think to yourself, well, as a senior, not many people have my phone number, so this must be legit. The other problem we're starting to see, and we follow it a lot, is this grandparent scam that's been happening all year. This idea that it's become so sophisticated for a lot of these culprits to be able to clone people's voices and be a family member, for example, or falsely represent a family member, that is, and end up taking seniors for a ride in the process.
How are they managing to do that? I mean, the sophistication to be able to get voices that sound like family members, it's frightening.
Well, you and I are probably from the era where we remember where people were actually worried about putting their voice and their face and their likeness
Hmm.
online. But now we are of the ilk where people are doing it on a daily basis and a part of how they communicate with people. And so it's become very easy to figure out who's in Roger's family, who I can duplicate in voice and replicate in pictures, and then start to move towards trying to dupe a senior in their life. I know it sounds a little sophisticated, but it's actually not that hard for scammers to understand information about people of all kinds. Our digital footprint is out there, Roger. We all know that if we are in a situation now where an idea or a possibility to win a lottery, for example, online comes through, we should be skeptical about it. But here's
Absolutely.
the other part about this, Roger, we have
Hmm.
to keep in mind is that tech companies are not responsible right now for anything that seniors lose or anybody loses in a scam. They're simply the medium. And so I speak to seniors in my life, and it becomes a little bit problematic because they say, oh, I want to contact somebody and find out how I can at least help myself in this. And we unfortunately don't have that accountability structure yet.
Well, let's talk about a little bit what people can do to protect themselves, though.
Well, for one, we need to start by having these conversations because there's an accountability, like I said, that's missing from the tech companies. So if we aren't continually informing the public about what's happening when it comes down to scams on both the digital and social media level, then it's going to be problematic. Second, we should have the conversation with the seniors in our life about where they're actually, roaming when it comes down to social media, what their passwords are, how they can be protected. Many social media companies are starting to create legacy accounts so that you could put an emergency contact within your social media account in case something happens. These are the types of ongoing conversations we're going to need to have with the senior population so that we can become a little bit safer, feel good about it, because it does feel good to stay connected with seniors when it comes to our online behavior.
All right, Mo, thank you very much for joining us and updating us on that. It's some interesting times with it.
Thank you, Roger.
Mohit Radjans is a media consultant and expert in emerging technologies with thinkstart.ca.